Okay. We're gonna be playing a Jeopardy style review session. So we're gonna ask a question and you just have to identify the terminology or meaning. So I'll tell you the definition and you'll identify the terminology. And you could shout it out or you could type it in the chat. And let's begin. This section is on macronutrients and micronutrients. This macronutrient is the most energy dense nutrient with 90 calories per gram. Which is the most energy dense nutrient? Yep, it's lipids. Do you guys know how many calories per gram proteins, carbohydrates have? I'll give you a hint. It's the same number. Yep, 4. And alcohol. Alcohol isn't a macronutrient, but it has its specific category of how much calories per gram it can offer. And it's good to know as someone who does know about beer how much calories per gram alcohol contains. Not 9, it's less than lipids, but more than proteins and fats. It is 7. It is more than proteins and fats. So a lot of Americans do consume most of their diet in alcohol, which is why it's very dense, energy dense. Okay. Proteins are key components of these 3 vital elements in the body: blood cells, enzymes, and what? Not hormones. Pretty similar. Could be considered similar in the size. Pretty small. It is immune factors such as antibodies. But in the words of Dr. Rose, proteins do the work of the cells. So you could say it's pretty all encompassing. The process of cooking does not affect this nutrient. What is this nutrient? You could fry it, you could bake it, you could boil it, you could cook it in fats or water, and it will remain the same throughout the process. Yep, minerals. Minerals are not affected by cooking. These chemicals found in fruits and vegetables offer health benefits but are not classified as essential nutrients. An example of this is antioxidants is a type of these chemicals, and they're found in blueberries. They're also found in garlic. They're found in a lot of things. What are these chemicals called? Yep, phytochemicals. Phyto just means plants. So basically, plant chemicals. Okay, these 4 micronutrients dissolve in fat. Right? They're fat soluble vitamins. And that means if you cook them in fat, they get leached out. And that means if you throw away the fat, you're losing some of that valuable nutrient. What are the 4? A, D, E, K. Probably make an acronym out of them to remember it. CADE. AIDCA. Okay. This section is on guidelines about the rules that regulate our nutrition. This term determines foods that provide a large number of calories relative to their weight or volume. Energy dense. Nice. I was gonna tell you a fun story about how I was taking a kid that I babysat to the wharf, and he wanted to buy some giant candy with his $20. He asked the cashier, "What's the biggest candy you got?" And she goes, "These giant jawbreaker." And I'm just thinking, wow, these giant jawbreakers are super energy dense. They are heavy, but they provide even more calories relative to their nutrition content. Okay. Health problems resulting from insufficient dietary intake to meet nutritional needs. Describe this condition. Malnutrition or undernutrition. Nice. This is a terminology that is often not associated with words like obesity, but you can be obese and under or malnourished, and that's because you could be consuming a lot of calories and still not meeting your vitamin and mineral needs for the day or the week or the month. So you could be malnourished and still have a lot of food. Foods like fruits, vegetables, and whole grains are examples of this type of food, which is rich in nutrients but relatively low in calories. This is the opposite of a giant jawbreaker. Yep, nutrient dense. Can you? Oh, wait, they already gave examples. Well, like 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 lettuce and cabbage and like bell peppers are super nutrient dense. Um, but they are low in calories. So that's a good example. Observed to be adequate to meet the needs of an age/gender without seeing any problems or apparent deficiencies. What is this terminology called? Also abbreviated to AI, not artificial intelligence, a different kind of AI. Yep, adequate intake. This is good to know. But if you're an athlete or you're like a tall person or someone that is just very active throughout the day, definitely this is your baseline, but maybe your baseline might be higher because you require more energy to be burned to fuel you for your activity. Okay, this one is symptoms like rapid hair loss can be an indicator in this type of assessment, which focuses on nutrition related physical signs. What is this assessment called? This isn't the physical assessment. Yep, clinical. It's part of the ABCDEs of nutrition assessment. Physical does sound like it could be part of clinical because you could see a lot of the signs. Okay, this section's on food labeling. This label indicates that a food product is grown without pesticides, synthetic fertilizers, or genetically modified organisms. Yep, organic. The story behind how this word came to be is pretty cool. Um, a bunch of farmers went to the White House and petitioned for this word to be brought into the vocabulary. And now we have it in all of our stores to tell us that our food has no pesticides if you buy that specific one, which is why it's typically more expensive than its non organic counterpart. Okay, this act requires that food products containing protein from major allergens must be labeled to protect consumers. What is this act called? But if you don't know the act, that's okay. I don't remember the act. I think what's more important is what are the major allergens? The ones that a lot of people are allergic to. If you could list a few in the chat, that would be awesome. They also recently released a new one that's very common. Yeah, peanuts, nuts, soy, eggs, milk. Yep. There's also seafood, yeah, shellfish, gluten, dairy, wheat. The most recent one, I don't know if you guys heard about it, but it's sesame. Sesame is the newest one added onto this list. So that's why a lot of parents, when they have children, they start introducing these allergens to their children at 6 months of age. And also, the act is called the Food Allergen Labeling and Consumer Protecting Act. And if you do have an allergy, this act is so helpful because if you look at the back of a label of any like processed food, or it like always says contains this in bold, and that is super helpful so you don't get an allergic reaction. So grateful for this act. Okay, a common health claim on food packaging that does not require scientific evidence and is not approved or validated by the FDA. For example, these vitamin gummies support the immune system. Like if you go to Sprouts or any grocery stores and walk through the aisles, you might see a bunch of products that have specific like targets. Like they'll be like, oh, if you eat this, your nails will grow longer. If you eat this, you'll be smarter, you'll think better, your brain will work faster. Yep, a function claim. So these are not regulated by the FDA. However, some companies do promote that they use third-party testers and stuff like that. So that's also another way to be validated, but it's not by the FDA. Okay, you pick up a box of Cheerios in the supermarket. The nutrition facts panel tell you that a 1 cup serving provides 25% of the blank for iron. What is the blank? Daily value? Yep, DV, daily value. A food label that means replacing nutrients lost in processing. And one very common product is all-purpose flour. When they process wheat to turn it into all-purpose flour, they take away the bran, they take away the germ, it's not fortified. And when they take those out, they're taking away a lot of essential nutrients. So when kids who are eating a lot of like bread and pasta and cereal and stuff, they start becoming very malnourished, undernourished in these specific vitamins and minerals, iron. And so the government decided that they must enrich is the word, enrich all these products with those vitamins and iron. And that prevented those specific deficiencies, but it's not an equal 1-to-1 ratio, and they only put those 4 back in and nothing else. So all the other good healthy fats was not put back in, or other stuff, it was not put back in. Okay, this section is on the GI tract, the digestive system. Okay, this Oh, key distinction between enriched and fortified. Enriched means you take something out and you put the nutrient back inside. Fortified means you add it into it, even though it wasn't there to begin with. Try to think of an example. Like some cereals, they add minerals and like vitamins that you never ever like would find it like naturally, like it wasn't there to begin with. Or another one is salt. There's iodine fortified salt, and iodine is not naturally found in salt, but because there was iodine problems, like people were getting goiters and stuff, they added iodine to it. Okay, yes, it's amylase. I always think of the name Amy, and ACE is always the ending for enzyme. And this is really cool because our bodies love, love, love carbs. It loves using that fast energy. Like our brain prefers glucose the most, so as soon as we have any carbs in our mouth, our body starts breaking it down. Amylase gets excreted and it is quickly, like as fast as possible, broken down, so when it gets into the stomach and small intestines, we could get it faster. Pretty cool. Mixture of stomach secretions and partially digested food is called chyme. What a fun word. I think it's also funny that they all become chyme because you could go to like a Michelin star restaurant, pay lots of money for food, and it will still become chyme. You could also go to like McDonald's and it'll still be chyme, but the quality of chyme probably changes. So that's probably it. Chyme. Okay. The part of the digestive system that has microbiota and absorbs water, so minerals and vitamins. This is one of my favorite parts of the GI tract because our microbiota is so important to our health. There's a lot of studies and documentaries being released. Yep, it's the large intestine, the colon. There's a documentary on Netflix that you guys should watch if you have time. Um, it's about gut health, about how they were following a few people and how their relationships with their gut, and how if you have like a very weak gut, like you get sick a lot, or you got a disease that like destroys your gut completely, sometimes an option is to get a fecal transplant from a healthy person, and that it will like refurbish your whole entire colon with microbiota. And they learned that like sometimes if you have like acne or if you have like mental health disorders, those could also be accidentally passed to someone through the microbiota. So there's a lot of cool studies being done on this. So if you guys have time, you should watch that documentary. Okay, yes, large intestines. This type of nutrient that cannot be absorbed by the small intestines because it travels through the hepatic portal to the liver, and it's huge. This nutrient enters the lacteals, travels to the lymphatic system, to the bloodstream, and is stored in adipose tissue. Yep, lipids or fats. If you guys ever pull up a picture of how lipids look like molecularly, they're just so huge and like gnarly and scary relative to how carbohydrates and proteins look like. So therefore, they can't go the normal way. They're too big. Okay, next one. This organ in the digestive system manufactures insulin, glucagon, bicarbonate ion, lipase, trypsinogen, and amylase. Yep, the pancreas. Wow, you guys are ready for the midterm. Okay, okay. Last section. The GI tract maladies. Erosion of the lining in the esophagus, stomach, and upper small intestines is called what? This is super painful. They kind of look like cold sores, and you could get them from messing up your pH of your stomach. And so your lining gets confused and this happens. Like sometimes people take medicine and it affects, yep, ulcer, the ulcers. Okay. This is a health condition in which stomach acid backs up into the esophagus and is common in half of North American adults. This is so cool because, well, no, this health condition isn't cool. But what is cool is that, yeah, the answer is acid reflux or heartburn. Okay, okay. Cool thing is that the where your esophagus meets the stomach, it goes through the diaphragm. So if you have this condition, you can like train your diaphragm to manually close that sphincter, that hole. So, anyways, that's a fun fact. Okay. Chronic immune mediated disease that flattens villi and limits absorption of nutrients due to exposure to dietary protein gluten. Celiac. Yep. So microvilli is super, super wavy and curvy and stuff because it increases the surface area for absorption. So if someone is exposed to gluten and it flattens their villi, what happens to their absorption? Are they able to absorb more things? Yep, it decreases. So unfortunate. So when it's like all flattened, then it decreases the surface area significantly. So this is a treatment plan for what disease? What malady? Eliminate trigger foods, poorly digestive carbohydrates, follow low food map dietary pattern, Moderate caffeine, small, frequent, low-fat meal, and reduced stress treats depression. What is this a treatment plan for? Yep, IBS. Oh, I didn't put the symptoms or the causes of IBS because it's still being studied on, and a lot of people um have like different like variations of it. But one of my friend has it, and she has a card that lets her go access like public restrooms or like restrooms and stuff that says like she has this, so she would need a restroom. And she says she has never been denied a restroom because of that card, so she's grateful for it. I also like learned that another hypothesis of why this could happen is because you know how like our stomach and our small intestines is like super tightly packed. Sometimes when the cells like are not as tightly packed, things could go through that's not supposed to, which causes irritation. So it's thought to have caused irritable bowel syndrome. Okay, the last question is, according to the hygiene hypothesis, a highly sanitized environment might contribute to a higher risk of developing these type of immune-related disorders. What are these immune-related disorders called? Yep, allergies. So it's saying that if you are growing up with a lot of pets, like cats and dogs, you are very unlikely to develop an allergy to cats and dogs in the future. So, if you're in a very clean environment, then you have more risk of developing these allergies to potentially cats or dogs. Okay, I will be staying here for the remainder of the time. Please make sure, this is very important for me to take attendance. You have to type your first and last name and middle name if you have a duplicate person, like if someone else shared the same first and last name as you, to also put your middle name in the chat so I could take attendance. And if you guys don't have any questions, you guys are free to go. But good luck on your midterms. I hope you guys are learning some cool nutrition stuff because it's pretty interesting.
Thank you.
Of course. See you next review session.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Good luck.
Thank you.
So oats means it's a type of sugar. And so I'm assuming it's like a type of sugar, but I could look more into it. That seems like a very unique kind of sugar. Okay. When I looked it up, it is an artificial sweetener. It is sweeter than sugar. And yeah, it's just a sweetener. Oh, they listed no sugars in the label. Oh, since it's an artificial sweetener, oh, it's 0 calories. That means that it doesn't give you any energy. It just tastes good, which is pretty cool. Like I know there's a lot of variants of sugar in like nature. Like there's agave, there's honey, there's maple syrup, and a lot of that. So specifically this one, let me see where it comes from. Ooh, cool. It is a halogenation of sugar, of regular sucrose. So they add halogens to sugar. And so it has no calories, but it tastes different and it's more stable. Also, like, I'm reading about how it doesn't promote cavities. That's pretty cool. I don't know if we'll learn about that in the class, but I can ask Dr. Rose. I know that we do learn about artificial sugars and sugar alcohols in very briefly, but I don't know if we go specifically to every single one. That'd be a really cool class. I think I would love to learn something about that and how to make your own sugar. Wouldn't that be kind of cool? Yeah, but I'll let Dr. Rose know. Maybe she could include it somewhere. You have any other questions? That was a fun question. Thanks for asking it. Goodbye. Good luck on your midterm.